I've been shooting for like 4 days. How wide? Like all body? Okay, yeah. You don't? Okay, cool. Let's go. Hello, welcome to my show. The moment I got in front of that text, it just felt like we never left. It was amazing, you know, it felt like we were right where we left off, but in a strange way with more clarity. When you come back to a role so much later, you catch yourself being a little bit more mature, you know, and in a strange way, understanding a little bit clearer what you were trying to say in the first place. We're back together after all these years, and we never knew the character was going to have the incredible reception and the fan base that it was going to have. We had no idea. So it's just like a full circle moment. One of his iconic lines is, "The world is on a diagonal. I am the balancing point." And it's a character who is a drug addict, you know, who's someone who's gone really, really deep into drugs, who's introspected himself in very, very violent ways and sort of pushed the limits of human behavior and done a lot of bad things. I think always driven by the sense of something is wrong in the world, something is wrong within me, and is a character who's willing to go as far as possible to try to understand it. And in doing so, sort of loses himself. And I believe in this game, we start sort of trying to understand what that journey in his head feels like. The character of Voss is something that I co-created with Ubisoft, and that really came from improvisation. And the improvisation, the answers and the stuff that I was doing in the improvisation came from things I was doing back in theater school. You know, they came from jokes and little things that I picked up and you know, like taping of the fingers. I had a mohawk at the time because it was kind of like the fashion, you know. And the character was really like a mosaic of a lot of, like, of my childhood, of the energy as a child, you know, that I remember of being able to jump on tables and run under couches or you know, kind of hang on couches or whatever. So I think the character really is something that's really close to my heart, that childlike kind of like, hello, and welcome to my show. You know, it's going to be a great day, you know, kind of thing. That, to me, is the core of the character.
Прыгайте с самолетов, летайте, как птицы. Вы спятили?
It's not the anger, it's the inner child underneath it all. That's the character. He's really not trying to hurt anybody, and his understanding of pain is completely like just not there. He doesn't speak to himself politely, doesn't speak to others. He's destroyed. He's a guy who's completely.
Они говорят мне, вас, кого, блядь, ты выберешь? Их или нас? Нас или их?
But underneath it all, he's a human. And before it all, he's a child. And with Voss as a character, if you go back to the child, you immediately find the character. And in the downloadable content, there are moments of real vulnerability. And
Привет, Вас.
Цитра?
Готов ли ты, наконец, стать тем, кто мне нужен?
Где я? Что это за херня?
Ищи, борись, собери части клинка, принеси их мне. Ты ведь хочешь меня, мою любовь, мой запах, мое тело.
Нет. Вали нахер из моей башки!
And I think the ugly side of addiction and the ugly side of a person like that, where it's painful, you know, not that I'm trying to justify the character. But the character, I don't think is, it's not literal. Don't take it literally. You know, like the killings and it's not literal, it's symbolic. I feel very responsible not to put something out in the world that's just violent for the sake of violence, you know, but that has a journey to it and an odyssey to it, and the possibility of a positive outcome if the player chooses to. His weapons are not just guns, they're ideas. He's playing with ideas that are dangerous. He's juggling like ideas like grenades. You know, it's not what your island can do for you, it's what you can do for your island. You know, it's I'm the stain of blood on your white wall, the allegory of the cave.
Я уже говорил тебе, что такое безумие. Безумие — это точное повторение одного и того же действия, раз за разом, в надежде на изменение. Это есть безумие.
Philosophical ideas that he seems to really understand, alongside with I love mangoes and I want pussy, cheeseburger, and a cigarette.
Что такое, Джейсон? Джейсон, что не так? Почему ты не смеешься, как в небе? Больше не смешно? Я тебя не радую. Знаешь, смысл в том, что там ты думал, что у тебя есть шанс. Летя в гребаное небо, ты думал, что схватил судьбу за вертлявую жопу. Но, брат, тут внизу. Тут внизу. Облом.
I think it's an innate nature of his to search. I think he's a searcher, he's a seeker. And I think he's a kind of a person that would have a lot of trouble wearing a suit. He would look at the tie as a noose around his neck. Yeah, he'd look at it as, what is this? Why are you putting this around my neck? Why is it so tight and buttoned up, you know what I mean? If the planet wasn't fully explored, I think he'd be like a Phoenician, you know, like get on the boat and try to do commerce with whatever's on the other side of the ocean. An adventurer, you know. Someone who is looking to go into the dark where everyone is afraid and is looking for answers. So whatever profession that would be. Far Cry 3 is a game that people stop me in the streets for all the time. You know, it's like Voss, you know, it's such a part of people's pop culture experience, you know, when growing up, you know, 8-9 years ago. And I remember going back to theater school in Montreal this year, and I was there to surprise one of my teachers. And it was after school, and they were kids rehearsing in one of the rooms. And they saw me pass by, and they ran out, and they said, "You're not going to believe this. We're rehearsing the definition of insanity monologue for tomorrow. Do you mind kind of watching us perform it?" And I was like, this is so crazy. You know, you see it does stuff like that to people, so you feel responsible to just give everything, give your heart to these people. Have I ever told you what the definition of insanity is? Have I? I'm sending you guys a lot of love from Toronto. Michael Mando